Well, greetings and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Karls Spirits. Tonight, the Wiseman, guided by wisdom and crafted with knowledge. This is the Wiseman. This is the slogan on the front of Kentucky Owl's newest release. Came out just about a month and a half ago. And the Wiseman is billed as an American Kentucky straight bourbon. As if there are any other Kentuckys, or bourbon can be made anywhere else other than in the U.S. I don't know. Wiseman is Kentucky Owl's attempt to break into the widespread, everyday drinking market with a product that they say won't break the bank. So tonight we're going to test out Kentucky Owl's The Wiseman and see if it holds up to that. Very quickly, just a really brief background. Kentucky Owl started way back in 1879 by C.M. Dedman and closed during the Prohibition era, as so many distilleries did, and it remained dormant until his descendant, Dixon Dedman, revived the brand back in 2014. In 2017, Dixon sold out Kentucky Owl to the Stoli Group, who controls it to this day. Now, Kentucky Owl's limited releases so far have been nothing short of great. Many of their bourbons and ryes have been really well received on the market. They're well respected. They also command a ultra premium price. 2019's Confiscated was a hit, and though they MSRP'd at around $125, you'd be lucky if you found that for $200. And does the market really demand that much out of a bourbon? I don't know. They currently have releases that are going all the way up to $1,000 for a bottle of Kentucky Owl. Now, my palate may not be that sophisticated to understand what a $1,000 bottle is like. So be it. I'm okay with that. I did review Confiscated Owl way back in episode 73. So if you're interested in Karls Spirits, go back and check that out. That's Karls Spirits, episode 73, Kentucky Owl Confiscated. This expression, though, is produced and distilled by Kentucky Owl in collaboration with the Bardstown Bourbon Company. Now, notice the wording. That's right off the bottle. Produced and distilled by Kentucky Owl in collaboration with Bardstown Bourbon Company. It doesn't say how much each of them produced or what they produced. This new bourbon is described as a blend, though, by company notes. It's a blend of Kentucky Owl 4-year-old wheat and high rye bourbons. So Kentucky Owl supposedly has put their own 4-year wheat and high rye into this. And then they've mixed that with a 5.5 and an 8.5-year-old Kentucky sourced bourbon. Where, though, are those bourbons from? Those sourced bourbons? We don't know. Kentucky Owl, the Wiseman, they aren't a-telling. It could be Bardstown Bourbon Company, pure and simple. There's a lot of hints, a lot of rumors that it could be Barton, 1792 stuff. Could be. It's a possibility. Fact is, we don't know. And just as a quick note before we do the tasting, this bottle itself is beautiful. It's got a great front and back graphic. They look like hand-drawn sketches of various symbols of wisdom. I mean, you have an owl on here, the pyramids. There's several open books. There is several clocks and hourglasses. There's even a seal on here that looks remarkably similar to like Harvard's seal. So I don't know how they quite got away with that, but you know, kudos to them. The front and the back. The front and the back are really, really nice labels. So this bottle really comes off as a very beautiful package. But despite being that striking, you know as well as I know that it's what's in the bottle that really counts. So let's taste good old the Wiseman. Now, just like Kentucky Owl, they do not give you a mash bill. Now consider this is actually a blend of 4 different bourbons. We have no mash bill to go on what any of those 4 were. And we don't know the exact age. It's labeled as straight, so it's at least 2 years old. Though according to company notes, the youngest is probably a 4-year, and it tops out around an 8.5 year. Again, we don't know exact ages. We don't know exact mash bills. Something to consider. So in our glass, we have a really nice light amber here. A really nice light amber. It's got nice thin legs. They're not overly thick, but they cling to that glass like super glue. They are really sticking to that glass. And so on the nose is really delicious smelling. It's got a really nice smell to it. Reminds me a lot of baked goods, especially banana. I have a personal favorite of banana bread, and this reminds me a lot of that banana bread scent right out of the oven. So that's what I'm getting. There is a hint of alcohol here, but really not much. It's a very, very light scent on the alcohol. So right off the front, it's very soft on the mouthfeel. It's not real chewy, but it's very soft, very welcoming, very warm, not in a hot, spicy way, but just a warm, soft, comfortable feeling. And right off the front, I get a noticeable grain note that I'm going to call oatmeal. It reminds me a lot of a hot oatmeal. And it's probably a corn note of some sort that I'm getting, a grainy corn, but I'm reminded a lot of oatmeal with that flavor. Then it kind of kicks in with a caramel sweetness. And there is that hint of black pepper there at the end, a cracked black pepper. And it's really a pretty enjoyable drink, to be quite honest. The finish is what I would call medium. It dissolves into a sweet cinnamon that is not off-putting in the slightest. It's just a really nice, sweet finish that just kind of lingers and then dissipates. So, my takeaway. First of all, I want to applaud Kentucky Owl for trying to produce a product here that is not priced above the average consumer's price range. $125 for a bottle at MSRP is out of my price range. Okay, that's way above what I'm willing to pay. Now, you and I both know you go to the store, $125 MSRP turns into $150, $175, $200 maybe on the shelf. So that makes that really hard to purchase. And if I hadn't been given a sample of that Kentucky Owl by a friend of mine that I did back in episode 73, I would not have the opportunity to do a Kentucky Owl review here. So having said that, I really appreciate that Kentucky Owl is trying to broaden their consumer base by producing a more available bourbon. Now, having said that, I think trying to build this as an everyday drinker at a $50 local price tag is still too steep. In my mind, this is a $35 bottle. If this is 35 to 40 bucks, I can justify buying this to keep on the shelf as a semi-everyday drinker. But at 50 bucks, I think it's way above that. Now, the flip side is, it's not an everyday drinker, but it's not an impress your guests either. It's not something that you're really going to bring out for a special occasion. The flavors are good, but they are not spectacularly good, if that makes any sense. There are many more bourbons at that $50 price point that I would rather purchase. I'm going to be picking up a Russell Single Barrel. I'm going to be picking up Old Forester 1920 or a 1910. I'm going to be hitting those bottles before I would be purchasing this. Again, it's not that this is bad. It's just not great. And there are some really great offerings out there in that $50 price range. Also, and I griped about this back in episode 73 about Kentucky Owl. Kentucky Owl, you have a nifty product. Your bourbons are smooth. They are easy to drink. They have really nice notes. But quit playing the shell game of where your stuff comes from. Be transparent. Okay? Tell us where it comes from, or tell us the mash bill. Tell us the age. Okay? Give us a little bit more transparency here. I think that's really important. I understand there's probably a no disclosure or a non-disclosure clause in your contract with whoever supplied you with the juice. But is it really that big of a deal, folks? Especially when you're asking a premium price for this bottle, is that really going to be a big thing? I think you get more respect if you were transparent. That's my opinion. Take that for what that's worth. Having said all that, this is a solid product, a solid taste, but not for a price of $50. So, rating this, I'm going to go 3.25 Karls stars. That's 3.25 Karls stars. I think it needs a little bit more rounding out on its flavor, and I think some work needs to be done on price before that rating can increase. There are just too many other great bourbons out there to satisfy that price range for just a good bottle. So great to good, you make that decision. I'm calling this a good bottle at 3.25 stars. That's my take. You're welcome to listen. You're welcome to not. That's my opinion. Take it or leave it. Again, that's what makes the bourbon world what it is. We all can have different tastes. So that's my take. Take it for what it's worth. As always, I want everyone to stay safe, peace, and happy pours.